So hey guys, so I'm giving you guys a little update because I didn't do my hospital update. No, baby girl's still baking. We are 32 weeks in a few days. Today is February 8th. So my 28th week, everything started around my 28th week. I had a break at my 29th week. But right before I hit 30 week, something just hit me again. So I already had to go in at we were having a problem with. So you guys kind of get like a mini update because I wasn't able to do it for my 28 and 29th update because I was just too sick. I wasn't like the thing is that so my glucose test. So already before I even got pregnant, I can't go long periods without eating. It doesn't matter. I get lightheaded, like you want to pass out, all that stuff. It does not matter, like, because I eat so small of meals that I need to constantly be eating every 2 to 3 hours. That's just because I can't have a large portion of food just because my system just have a really hard time digesting, and it just sucks. Like, it'll be pain if I try to eat a full meal, and I'll just be in pain. So, but we had a problem with my glucose test. So I had to do my glucose test 3 times because when I first did it, it was like you're borderline. So if you're borderline, that don't mean you have it, but you can be close to it. Like, say if you ate something, you can be close to it. So they have you redo the test to be like, for sure you don't have it, gestation diabetes. So they always have you redo it. Now you can deny to redo the test, but you will be considered gestation diabetes, even though you don't have it. But since you deny to do the second test, the 3-hour test to confirm whether you have it or not, they're going to automatically assume that they're going to treat you like you have it, even though you don't. So fine. So the other one, like the first one, the hour test, they was like, you can just eat like toast or eggs, but nothing like sugary, like none of that stuff. You could just have like wheat toast. You can't have white toast because you gotta know white toast has sugar in it. So wheat toast, which we eat wheat toast, so it was fine that I had wheat toast. I had wheat toast and eggs, but I was borderline with the first test, so I had to come back the following week. Whether you do it in a few days, but I was still working, so that wouldn't work out. So I went back the next week, but you had to do the 6-hour fast, the fasting where you can't eat nothing for after 11 or 12, something like that. But I knew that was gonna like not work because I already, like, throughout my whole pregnancy I had morning sickness, so I just knew it was not going to work with my system. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do because the first test you only have 50 milliliters. The second, when you're doing a 3-hour test, they give you 100 milliliters, and it's more sugary. And they gave me fruit punch, which was disgusting. Like, anything fruit punch, just any type of medicine, anything, just I don't know, it's just not right. So we go and do the test, but I puke. Like, they did my fasting blood work first, but I puke the whatever the stuff up, the glucose Serby junk up within 10 minutes. So basically they could not do my next 3-hour blood work. So what my OB recommend, because just having a history of having been really sick, just stomach problems, like, and just having consistent morning sickness throughout my whole pregnancy, she kind of know, like, your body just can't go that long without eating. Like, it just won't allow us to do it. So she what she said is I had to eat, but we would skip the fasting test. We would just do the 3-hour glucose test part. But what she had me do is I had to eat protein. So I had eggs and toast. I could have that. So basically you had to have something protein, meaty, something with high protein in there. If you was to have peanut butter, you had to have like all natural peanut butter that doesn't have any sugar. But I just chose eggs because they have protein, a lot of protein, and we can tolerate eggs. So it was all the eggs and toast, and then she sent like a bigger dose. Like normally nauseous medicine they tell you take one, but they had me take two, so I can keep the drink down. So you had to take it the medicine 3 hours before you go in. You have to eat 3 hours and take the medicine 3 hours before you go in for your first drawing of your blood. And the whole clinic was like confused because it was like, what? So we don't have to do her fasting drawing? And she was like, no, because we already did her fasting drawing yesterday. Today we're going to do her 3 hour portion of the test. So it was like 3 tests. It was only supposed to be one it's supposed to be one full test, but they had to do a test and a half because that's just how my body just couldn't take it. So I had troubles with that. I was crying because they had already sent my work over to like a nutritionist. I was like, did I fail? Because normally they would call and tell me my blood work or whatever my work was. And so the first time I panicked because the nutritionist called me, and then they called me the next day to the next a few hours. They called me like at 6 o'clock. Like, oh yeah, you passed your 1 hour blood work after I had a whole cry out, blowout. Guys, I'm telling you, like, people think it's not a big thing, but it is a big thing when your baby have to get pricked after they're born. You have to prick yourself, your finger. Like, I'm okay with pricking myself, but I'm not okay with my baby having to get pricked. Your baby have to get pricked before feedings and after feedings. So if you're in the hospital for 3 days, that's a lot of pricking for your little baby feet. When we came home, Reese's feet was so purple and bruised. And then when you take them for their checkup to make sure they're still good, like you have to take them in for extra blood work. It was in there forever. My baby was just screaming because they're like pricking they got to keep pricking the foot and pushing the blood out because they can't just draw blood from the little veins. So that was horrible. I didn't want to go through that again, so I was just crying. I just broke down crying. And then they called me the next day and was like, oh, you passed. I was like, for real? I was like, I had a whole heart attack yesterday because I'm thinking I failed, but I passed. So that was really good. So there's a few days. Fast forward to the next week. I'm normally I know because I have asthma, so I know the difference between like a cold cough and an asthma cough, or when you're having symptoms with breathing. Like you just know the difference. Like a cold cough is normally not in your chest, it's in your stomach. More like your stomach crunches a lot. But more like with your asthma cough, you feel like in your chest, like you have a lot of tightness going on, like you're like having a really hard time starting to breathe, move around, but your cough, if it becomes painful or like it feel like it's squeezing, like it's like imagine you taking like a massage and you just a ball and you just squeezing it. So every cough or as time went by, it just like I felt like somebody was like, a lot of times with people asthma, you feel it in your back and you feel it in your chest. Like, so normally, like if you have that, that is a symptom that you need to come in. And so we did, I did that. So we went into the hospital. I just and I went, with asthma, you go from like 1 to 10. So it can be like something small and then it can just escalate. And that's what happened. So one day I just started feeling like sick. That's what I just started feeling, like drainage. Like my throat was like itchy and sore. And then I had a hard time breathing that next day. And I told Sean, like, we're going to go to the hospital because I don't have any inhalers. I don't have any albuterol. I want to make sure. But the mucus was like really boogery green. And it was like, but it was coming out my mouth a lot. So I'm like, okay, that's a sign that I have an infection. Because they already tell you, like, what color is your snot? This. And if it's green and brown, normally you have an infection, whatever, or you may have pneumonia. So went in. We had to sit in the waiting room for 3 hours because for some reason the flu hit Kentucky really hard. There was a lot of people on the flu. When they finally got me back there, they started me on IVs. He came in. He's like, yeah, I can hear a decrease in your lungs. He's like, oh, baby, the cough. He's like, when did this cough start? I said, yesterday. He's like, and is that bad? I was like, yes, this cough started yesterday. And I was barking, but my chest was hurting so bad. So they're like, okay, we're gonna give you, and then I only had used it one time. So they were giving me, it's like you're dehydrated, but you probably dehydrated because you can't get nothing down with all that mucus. And so they were giving me IVs, and then I finished that IV. The lady broke a whole nother IV, and then she broke another IV. I said, did y'all get my results back? She was like, I think you have an infection. And so he came in, my doctor came back in to explain, because I started questioning, like, what's going on? He was like, well, you have an upper respiratory infection, but you also can get a UTI, which is normal when you in pregnancy, which is just a urinary tract infection. But well, they were more concerned that the upper respiratory infection I had, because I was coughing a lot, and they wanted to get rid of that cough, because it was like really, there was like, if I would have waited a little bit longer, I probably would have came in with more breathing problems. And they still wanted me to use the bathroom. And he told me, he said, you come back, because I just turned 30 weeks. He's like, you come back, we're keeping you, we're admitting you. If you don't use it more than the next 24 hours, at least 2 to 3 times and all that stuff, we're going to keep you. So they sent me home with antibiotics. They sent me home with a lot of stuff, girl. And they also sent me home with an emergency inhaler. And it was horrible. He's like, yeah, you have a really bad upper respiratory infection. First, he thought I had the flu. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, we'll see what that is. But I didn't have the flu, thank God. But I knew, like, something was wrong. Like, I knew, like, yeah, the color of my mucus, the way my chest feeling. And, like, if I didn't use the bathroom, they wasn't going to let me leave, guys. Like, they was like, you better go give us something, or you're not leaving out of here. And when I went for my follow-up 2 days later, my OB was like, why didn't you come to the maternity part of the emergency? I guess it's too late. You got the emergency and you got the maternity emergency. I was like, I thought that was an emergency for pregnancy. She's like, anything you come to the hospital for is emergency for pregnancy. So if I go back in anytime soon with this type of, I'm going to have to go through the maternity part. But